Growth only happens outside your comfort zone. That's a truth most people know, but very few live by. The comfort zone feels safe, warm, and familiar, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. Nothing grows there. You don't discover your true potential in ease and routine. You discover it in discomfort, challenge, and uncertainty. When you step beyond what's familiar, that's when you meet the real version of yourself, the version that can adapt, learn, and rise above any obstacle. Think about it. Everything great that has ever happened in your life started with something uncomfortable. The first time you spoke in front of people, the first job you took that scared you, the first time you failed and had to get back up, each of those moments pushed you beyond your limits. That's how growth works. You have to break what's old to make space for what's new. When you stay in comfort, you repeat the same actions, think the same thoughts, and get the same results. But the moment you step outside, you force your mind and body to adapt. You build confidence through challenge, not convenience. People often say they want success, but what they really mean is they want success without sacrifice. They want change without challenge. But success demands something from you, your time, your energy, your persistence. When you step into discomfort, you start to train your mind to handle more. That's how you grow in strength, skill, and spirit. It's not easy to leave the comfort zone. It feels risky and unfamiliar. But that's where transformation happens. The moment you feel resistance, that's a sign you're exactly where you need to be. The comfort zone is like quicksand. It holds you in place while making you believe you're safe. You tell yourself you'll move forward someday when conditions are perfect, when you feel ready. But that day never comes. Growth doesn't wait for readiness. It demands action. Every time you take a small step beyond what's easy, waking up earlier, learning something new, facing your fears, you expand your limits. The things that once scared you start to feel normal, and suddenly your comfort zone grows wider. That's how winners keep evolving. Look at anyone who's achieved greatness. They didn't get there by staying comfortable. They worked through pain, failure, and doubt. They kept pushing when most people quit. They chose the hard road because they knew it led somewhere worthwhile. And the beauty is, once you've walked through discomfort, you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. You become stronger, more confident, more capable. The truth is, the world doesn't reward comfort, it rewards courage. And courage is nothing more than the willingness to be uncomfortable for a greater purpose. So if you want to grow, start stepping into situations that make you stretch. Say yes to challenges, embrace the unknown, and trust that you'll figure it out as you go. Because the life you want, the person you're meant to become, is waiting for you just outside your comfort zone. Discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is that spark that gets you started, but discipline is the fuel that keeps you going when the spark fades. Motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable, emotional, and temporary. You might feel inspired today, but tomorrow, when you're tired or discouraged, that feeling disappears. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It doesn't depend on how you feel. It's a decision, a commitment, a promise you make to yourself that no matter what happens, you will keep moving forward. Most people wait for motivation to show up before they act. They say, I'll start when I feel ready, or I'll do it when I'm in the mood. But the truth is, motivation doesn't come first. Action does. Once you start doing the work, once you take that first step, the energy to continue begins to build. Discipline is the habit of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the voice in your head that says, keep going, when every part of you wants to quit. That's what separates successful people from the rest. Not talent, not luck, but consistency built on discipline. When you rely on motivation, you're letting your emotions control your results, but emotions are unpredictable. You can't build a dream, a career, or a legacy on something that changes with the weather. Discipline gives you structure. It creates habits that make success automatic. For example, if you want to get fit, motivation might get you to the gym for a week, but discipline gets you there every day for a year. If you want to build a business, motivation helps you start, but discipline keeps you working through the long nights and the rejections. Discipline is about making choices that align with your goals instead of your feelings. It's choosing to wake up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's choosing to save money when you'd rather spend it. It's choosing to study, to practice, to stay focused, even when no one is watching. Discipline builds character, and character builds success. Every time you follow through on your commitment, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. You build self-respect, and that self-respect turns into confidence. There will be days when you don't feel inspired, when progress feels invisible, and when the goal seems far away. Those are the moments that define you. Discipline is what carries you through the dull, the difficult, and the disappointing. It's what turns effort into achievement. While motivation burns bright and fades fast, discipline burns slow and steady, lighting your path day after day. When you live with discipline, you take control of your future. You no longer depend on chance or mood. You depend on your habits. You become reliable, focused, and unstoppable. The truth is, success isn't about doing extraordinary things once. It's about doing ordinary things consistently. That's the power of discipline. It transforms small, daily actions into lifelong achievements. So don't chase motivation, build discipline, and the results will follow. Failure is a teacher, not an enemy. Most people fear failure as if it's the end of their story, but in reality, it's just the beginning of learning. Every time you fail, life is trying to teach you something about your strategy, your mindset, your limits, and your strength. Failure exposes what doesn't work so you can discover what does. The problem is too many people quit after failing once. They take it personally as if failure means they're not good enough. But failure doesn't define you, your response to it does. Every successful person you've ever admired has failed more times than most people have even tried. When you fail, it hurts, it's uncomfortable, embarrassing, and discouraging. But that pain has a purpose. It shapes you, toughens you, and prepares you for the next step. Think about it. How would you ever learn resilience, patience, or humility if everything worked out perfectly the first time? Failure is the classroom where character is built. It strips away your pride and forces you to look deeper. It shows you what needs to change, what needs to grow, and what you're truly capable of. Each setback carries a lesson that success could never teach. The truth is, failure is proof that you're trying. It means you're out there taking risks, chasing dreams, and pushing boundaries. People who never fail are the ones who never try. Playing it safe might protect you from disappointment, but it also protects you from progress. Every failure brings you one step closer to success because it provides valuable feedback. You start to understand patterns, recognize mistakes, and make better decisions the next time around. That's how mastery is built, not through perfection, but through persistence. Look at the greatest innovators, leaders, and creators in history. They all failed, often spectacularly, before achieving greatness. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Harvey himself was rejected, broke, and homeless before becoming one of the most respected entertainers in the world. Their stories remind us that failure isn't fatal, it's foundational. It builds the strength, wisdom, and faith required to handle success when it finally comes. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds you that you don't know everything, and that growth is a lifelong journey. It forces you to listen, adapt, and evolve. When you stop fearing failure, you start living with freedom, the freedom to experiment, to take chances, to dream bigger. Because once you realize failure can't destroy you, it loses its power over you. In the end, failure refines you. It takes you apart piece by piece and rebuilds you stronger, wiser, and more determined. It's not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you. Every mistake is a message, every setback a stepping stone. So instead of running from failure, embrace it. Let it teach you, shape you, and push you closer to the person you were always meant to become. Improvement requires daily effort, even when it's hard. Growth isn't something that happens overnight or in one big moment. It's built slowly through the small, consistent choices you make every single day. The truth is, greatness is not a product of intensity, but a consistency. Anyone can work hard for a day or two, but it takes discipline and determination to keep showing up, especially when the excitement fades and the results aren't immediate. Real improvement demands patience, persistence, and a commitment to doing the work even when it feels like nothing is changing. Every day presents an opportunity to get better, not by leaps and bounds, but by inches. Those tiny efforts add up. The person who commits to reading a few pages daily, exercising a little each morning, practicing a skill for a few minutes consistently will outperform the one who works in short, intense bursts and then stops. Daily effort builds habits, and habits shape identity. You start to see yourself as someone who doesn't quit, who follows through, who honors their goals. That mindset becomes the foundation of lasting success. The hardest part about daily effort is that it often feels invisible. You put in the work, and it seems like nothing's happening. You look for progress and don't see it right away. That's where most people give up. But improvement is like growing roots underground. You may not see the growth immediately, but it's happening. The moment you stay consistent, you're building strength, skill, and resilience, even when the results aren't visible yet. Eventually, those invisible efforts show themselves in visible success. Some days you'll wake up motivated and ready to go. Other days you'll feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. But those hard days are the most important ones because they test your commitment. Anyone can work when it's easy. Improvement happens when you push through when it's not. That's the difference between average and exceptional. It's easy to start, but only the consistent finish. Each day you keep going, you prove to yourself that your goals matter more than your excuses. Improvement isn't just about doing more, it's about doing better. Every day, ask yourself, what can I do today to be a little better than yesterday? Maybe it's one more rep, one more call, one more page. Small progress compounds into massive transformation over time. The people who achieve lasting success are not the most talented or the most lucky. They are the ones who refuse to stop improving. They understand that effort, not ease, builds excellence. Even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when nobody notices, keep going. Because one day, the small things you did daily will become the big things people admire. The journey of improvement isn't glamorous, it's gritty, repetitive, and demanding. But every drop of effort is an investment in your future self. When you commit to daily growth, you train your mind to stay focused and your heart to stay strong. And over time, those small, hard daily choices create something powerful, a life of purpose, progress, and pride. The power to change your life lies within you, not your circumstances. Too often, people wait for the world around them to change before they start improving their lives. They wait for the right opportunity, the right people, the right timing. But the truth is, those external things will never be perfect. Real transformation begins the moment you realize that the power to create a better life already lives inside you. It's not about what you have or where you come from. It's about what you choose to do with what you've got. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't is not luck, it's mindset. When you take responsibility for your life, everything changes. You stop blaming others, stop making excuses, and start taking action. The moment you decide that your success depends on you, you gain freedom. Because if your happiness and growth depend on your circumstances, you're trapped. But if they depend on your choices, you're in control. No one can stop a person who believes in their ability to rise, no matter what's happening around them. You might not control the weather, the economy, or other people, but you always control your attitude, your effort, and your response. That's where your power lies. Every successful person has faced challenges, poverty, rejection, fear, loss, yet they found a way forward. What set them apart wasn't that their circumstances were easy, but that their spirit was unbreakable. They decided that their future was worth fighting for. They understood that complaining doesn't change anything, but action does. When you stop focusing on what's wrong and start focusing on what you can do, you open doors you didn't even know existed. Life rewards those who take responsibility and keep moving even when the path is uncertain. The truth is, waiting for the world to give you a sign is a trap. There will never be a perfect time, a perfect plan, or perfect conditions. You have to start where you are and use what you have. Every small action you take builds momentum. Every choice you make either brings you closer to your goals or keeps you stuck where you are. When you understand that power, you stop living like a victim and start living like a creator. You begin to design your life instead of reacting to it. You don't need anyone's permission to grow. You don't need anyone's approval to become better. The only permission you need is your own. The strength you're looking for isn't out there. It's in you. When you realize that, you become unstoppable. Life may not always be fair, but it's always full of opportunity for those who are willing to take control of their story. The world will try to convince you that your circumstances define you, your background, your mistakes, your struggles, but they don't. What defines you is how you rise above them. The moment you take ownership of your life, you awaken your inner power. You stop waiting for change and you become the change, because the greatest force in your life isn't fate, it's you, your will, your choices, and your determination to never give up,